relief from where practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship would result. The board will vote on each agenda item following a public hearing. Use variance requests require a minimum of 6 affirmative votes in order to grant the requested variances. Non-use variance requests require a minimum of 5 affirmative votes in order to grant the variances. Please note that any order of the board is valid for a period of 1 year. If you'd like to request that the board table adjourn your case due to the absence of a full board, you must inform the chairperson immediately after the public hearing. Please note, we do not have a full board tonight. We only have, 6 people. Petitioners shall do their best to limit presentations to 10 minutes. Each participant in a public hearing shall do their best to limit comments to 3 minutes. Excuse me. All right, as mentioned, we're down to 6 members. Approval of minutes, is there any motion to approve or amend the minutes previously from July 10th, 2025 meeting? All right, I think I saw Mr. Klatt's hand up.
Approve.
Okay.
Second.
All right, any discussion? None? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. There's no unfinished business. So we'll move on to case number F-25-08-01. Whenever you're ready, you may take it away.
This site's located on the east side of North Connecticut Avenue, just north of East 12 Mile. And this item initially began as a code enforcement violation, which was provided to the petitioner for installing a fence without a permit. And according to the city's building division, who initially processed the permit, the petitioner had installed a wooden privacy fence along the south lot line, which they affixed the wooden fence to an existing chain link fence post. The fence ordinance does require that any fence or privacy screen, the material of that fence itself has to be of an identical material. So they can't be of a dissimilar material. For example, a wood cannot be affixed to metal, wood cannot be affixed to vinyl, and so forth. A few things I want to point out is that there's actually nothing in the fence ordinance itself which prohibits 2 separate fences from being constructed to directly face one another. And there's also nothing that explicitly prohibits one fence from being affixed to another as displayed. But the caveat, of course, is that they do have to be of a similar material. So the deputy building official did make the determination that the petitioner's proposal does require a variance because the wooden fence itself is affixed to the metal chain link fence. Thank you.
Okay, any questions?
Do we have a record of when this fence was installed?
Well, since there was no initial permit for when it was constructed, I'm not sure the exact date, but I would defer that to the petitioner.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Mr. Clay.
How did they find out about this? It's kind of tucked back a bit from the front of the house. How did was it a neighbor complaint?
It could have been. Of course, when code enforcement cases are made, it is confidential, so I don't know for certain.
When was the code enforcement case first opened up?
I'm not sure the exact date specifically, but I can again defer that to the petitioner itself.
Any other comments?
One last question. Did they have any concerns about structural soundness? It's a 6-foot fence against a 4-foot fence, 4-foot post supporting a 6-foot high fence. Did the building official say anything about that? Did they require any type of proof that the brackets used can support that when loading on the fence?
Yep, this was the only thing that was flagged by the building division. They didn't mention anything regarding structural integrity.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mr. Langweather.
Do we know from city records if the chain link fence is on the one parcel versus the other?
I do not have any record from that. Generally, when there is a question about a lot line where it's specifically located, the city has always taken the stance that it's up to the discretion of the homeowner themselves to prove how they can prove to the city that it is in fact on their lot line and doesn't encroach onto the neighbor's lot.
And in this case, that proof was not furnished?
That's correct.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, the petitioner, if you're present, may come forward and state your case.
Ready whenever, okay.
Yep.
Good evening, my name is Rob Matuk. I live at 1806 North Connecticut Avenue, and I'm here to request a deviation on the ordinance section 323-3G, all constituent materials of the fence, or privacy screen except for bolts, screws, nails, and other such hardware shall be identical of similar type. So a little bit of history about this fence that might answer some of the questions. When I first moved in 2016, there was a fence present. It was in severely deteriorated condition, and it was attached to this chain link fence using wire. It looked like old coat hangers, quite honestly. The fence was also present when the neighbor moved in. I believe they moved in 2018. When the fence started to collapse during storms or windy weather, I reached out to the neighbor to see if they wanted to split the cost for a replacement fence. After several weeks of asking them, they stated they did not want to spend money on that fence, and I let them know that I'd be replacing it at my own cost, as well as how I was planning to replace it. They had no issue, and I was given a go-ahead to go build the fence. It took me several weeks to replace the fence because I was doing the work myself. At no time during the construction was a concern ever raised. Shortly after the fence was completed, the neighbors completely replaced the privacy fence on the other side of their property, even using similar methods of attaching to a chain link fence. They also, without permission, began drilling into attaching baskets and hooks into the privacy fence I had just installed. The fence is a significant aesthetic improvement over what was there, with a far more robust attachment method than which was present when we both purchased our homes. In the 4 years, there has been no issues with the fence from a fabrication or appearance standpoint. It's been well maintained and it's been holding up well. No dissatisfaction has been communicated from the neighbor. I mention this history because it's relevant. Late in June, I was in the backyard playing with my children, and I noticed the neighbor walking up my driveway. They came all the way to the fence line. This is very, very unusual. This has never happened since they've moved in. So when they left, I went to go see what they were doing, and I noticed nothing had changed other than they had turned their gutter so that it was discharging all the water onto my property. I've had problems with water in the past, so I took action to try to mitigate that. I called Royal Oak's Code Enforcement Department to get a ruling, and Chris came out on July 1st. We discussed the issue. He ruled that it was a violation, and he went to inform the neighbor. When he reported it to them, the neighbor's response was to ask Chris to report the fence as a code violation. So this is nothing more than retaliation. In fact, Chris confirmed, asking him again if that's what he wanted to do, and he confirmed. Since being issued the violation at Chris's request, or Chris's recommendation, I acted immediately. I spent significant time and effort calling different departments of the city to understand the code, permitting process, and this variance process, all because the neighbor had to move his gutter. I could have and have been offered to report the same violation against him, and I didn't. I chose not to. I simply want to keep my fence up and just move on. If the board does not approve this deviation, I'll take the fence down. That could be problematic. It's not in the pictures here, but the actual chain link between the posts has been removed for sections of the fence between his property and mine. So my only question is, if he actually had a problem with the fence, why would he want it to come down when the only other barrier between my property and his for our young children and his pet would be no longer present? I'd like to thank everybody for their time and attention listening to my story, and I appreciate your consideration in this variance request.
Questions for the petitioner?
Hi, I'm sorry this is going on. It's really not fun when you're not getting
at all.
along with your neighbor. So, I just understand how you did this. The wood fence is actually just attached to basically the posts of the chain link fence. That's what's going on here. You didn't sink any posts when you put up the new wood fence.
None.
Okay.
I used the posts that were present,
Okay.
which are very robust compared to what you'd probably get
So,
today.
if you took down the actual fencing and the rails of the fence and left the posts holding the wood, would it still be integrity? Would it still hold the fence?
Yeah, if you
Okay.
left just the vertical post up, it would
Yeah,
have.
just the vertical post,
Uh-huh.
okay. So you could take down the other, I think what part of the reason, and I could be wrong about this, but the city has a problem when you have a wooden fence up against a chain link fence because weeds and stuff and critters can get in there. Like, that's kind of, to me, the worst thing that can happen.
Correct.
And it doesn't look the greatest, but I tried to look at it too. I couldn't see it from the road. I couldn't see it. I kind of went up your driveway to look at it. And you don't know who put in the chain link fence.
No,
And
that,
they moved in around 2 years after you moved in, you think, okay, they're
correct,
okay.
correct. Yeah, the
So-
chain link fence was present when I bought the property. I
Okay.
did consider that. So if you look at what the overhead picture of the property, there's only a small section where there's any grass at all. On the south side there, you can see where his lawn is. And I did consider that when I was constructing the fence. The fence is up off the ground, sufficient enough to get a weed whacker
Oh,
through
okay.
to clear out any growth in that area.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Clanton, Mr. Wolf.
Well, thanks for your explanation. It's more clear now, as I didn't understand how it came to be or what happened where. So it sounds like, I could see the confusion. There was already a fence up there, you moved in, it was falling apart, it was in terrible shape, you simply wanted to replace it, put something up that's more sound. Was that fence 6 feet high as well, or was it? Okay. And it's been 4 years it's been up?
Yep,
Wow, okay. And it's still structurally sound, no issues?
no
sturdy as a
issues at
rock?
all. In fact, so the north side faces mine. If you were ever to have any issues at all, I expect it to be on the north side in the winter time. It doesn't get any sunlight, doesn't dry as fast. You can see there's no issue.
And you reached out to them, you explained what you were doing, they had no issues, and now it's an issue 4 years later?
Correct.
And is there anything in our, I didn't see anything in our packet against it from the neighbor? Did I miss something? Okay.
There
We're
was just-
complaining about this.
Yeah, there was just the one public comment we received, and that was not from the subject neighbor.
Okay, well, maybe they're here, we'll see. Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Wolf.
Question more for Alex. If this were to be denied and the applicant took down the chain link fence and then retroactively got it permitted, would that be a fix that the building department could find sufficient?
The chain link fence is the neighbor's, so it's not the petitioner's fence.
Okay, thank you for that consideration.
Mr. Langweber.
When you put the fence up, were you aware that the chain link belongs to the neighbor's property?
No. And I don't.
Do you know for that?
I don't know if that's a fact.
I see. When you moved in and there was the old, kind of dilapidated fence there, was it fastened in a similar way where it was using the other fence as a brace?
It was using the privacy fence was using the chain link fence as a brace, and the only attachment, and there was no brackets, no hardware. It was actually just like chicken wire drilled into 2 holes and wrapped through and tied around.
Have you looked at physically detaching the new fence from that old fence and putting in posts, conventional posts? that would-
Yeah, there wouldn't be, for a large section, there wouldn't be sufficient room to do that without taking the chain link out.
So you couldn't put the posts on your side of that fence?
No, because it's immediately cement from the driveway there.
I see. Okay.
Any other questions? All right. If there's none, seeing none, we'll open this to public hearing. Afterwards, I'll ask you if you would like us to proceed or to hold off a month because we are absent of a full board. There will be no penalty for asking us to hold it off for a month, postpone, but if you want a better chance, you're welcome to let us know.
Okay, thank you.
All right, public hearing. If anyone would like to speak for or against this case, please come forward right now. Going once, going twice. All right, public hearing is closed. Would you like us to proceed or would you like us to postpone for a month and hopefully get a more full board for you?
I'm okay with proceeding.
All right. We'll bring it to this side. Comments and/or motions? Mr. Klatt, you're slowly raising your hand.
Well, for conversation, I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Mr. Reddy seconds. All right, go ahead, Mr. Klatt.
Okay, I don't think it's an ideal scenario, having two fences up against each other. And walking in, I was probably leaning more towards no, just looking at the data that we had in front of us. But after hearing the applicant's petitioner's story, it makes sense to me. You made a bad situation better. You cleaned it up. It's a nicer fence now. You seem like you did the right thing. You approached the neighbor. You spoke to them about this. They could have showed up to speak their side of this. They didn't. I didn't see any other information in our packet. So to me, I think you did the best with what you had at the time, and you cleaned it up. And for those reasons, I support it.
Mr. Reddy?
Yeah, and I'll just add, we have a different standard because this is a fence variance, and I think there is a practical difficulty that's been explained. There isn't space to put posts otherwise, so I'll be in favor.
Okay. Any other comments? Mr. Wolf?
I'm going to respectfully disagree with my colleagues and vote no on the motion. I do empathize with the applicant. Having not nice neighbors is not fun, but it is also a practical difficulty. I still do not know what the practical difficulty is from a construction, engineering, whatever you'd like to call it, point of view with the land. And, again, unfortunately, the rules are the rules, and it sucks, and there isn't really a way to get around it. But unfortunately, that your neighbor is not a person that you get along with is not something that runs with the land, or some other issue that happened before you came here, before they came here. You do have my sympathy, because not having nice neighbors is not fun. But I don't know if that's something that, since it happened after you bought the house, after your neighbor moved in, after all of these things happened, it just, for me, it doesn't pass the sniff test of practical difficulty.
Okay. Ms. Robinson?
I will agree with approving this, just because, looking at the pictures, I can't see how you could go in there and put wooden posts in to actually put another singular wood independent fence there. And that, to me, is the practical difficulty as far as, it's already done. It's there. And then you also went ahead and used the kind of hardware that, that is built for that purpose. I mean, here's kind of a question for Alex. Is a wooden fence with metal posts legal?
No, that's a violation of the fence ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Question again for Alex. I've seen PVC fences go up where they have a metal on the inside of it as a structural support, where you've got PVC that kind of lines the outside of it. But in that case, that is allowed, correct?
Well, the one thing I would say is that within the fence ordinance, it says it's up to the discretion of the building official or his designee to make the determination on whether or not they would need a variance for. So unfortunately, I would have to defer that directly to the building official himself.
I see. In this case, it's definitely an improvement, I think, aesthetically and functionally between the properties, and removing it, I think, would be a detriment, frankly. So, while I understand the conflict between the metal post and the wood structure, I think that the end result is probably a net gain in this case. So I'm going to, I think, be supporting the motion.
All right. I'm torn on this. I understand your point of view of he could have gone through, got a permit the first time when he did the fence, saw that this was not going to work, and then go to his neighbor and say, hey, the only way we can do this is by you and I working together, because I don't have any room to put any posts, so what do you want to do? Unfortunately, he didn't do that. He was, in his mind, fixing what was already there in the same style, thinking, hey, this had been, and that's where maybe the practical difficulty, and I sort of see on that point of, hey, I moved in here, it was held together by chicken wire. I'm going to make it a little bit better. I'm going to put in some nice brackets, make this actually official. because I can't fit any posts on my side, and my neighbor's not being helpful whatsoever, and I want to at least make my side look better. So I normally do not like allowing this kind of circumstance go, but because of the actual property situation and there not being any real spot to put posts on his property side, and his neighbors not being helpful, whatever, if we were to deny this, would his neighbors still even help and try and get posts up at that point? I don't know. And I would think that we're actually making that situation worse than what it is, unsafer by allowing the neighbors' pets or kids be able to cross lines without any fence there because the chain link is down. So because it would make it unsafer until it actually was safe again, and who knows how long that would be, I'm going to go with the practical difficulty-ness of the whole situation of what it is, and so therefore I'm going to be for this motion. So if there's no, yes,
And we also have the one letter from the neighbor across the street in support too.
right, but
No,
in my mind,
that's-
that's not as much practical
so-
difficulty. Yes, Mr. Wolf.
I think I really appreciate everybody's analysis. I always do. I think for me, if this was the first time and you would come up the first time and said, I've pulled a permit, this is what I need, I would have been much more sympathetic to it. I think that it's because it's a code case, I'm a little less sympathetic. It's nothing against any, but like it's a you're asking for special permission after you've already been caught. And so rightfully or wrongfully, if the permit had been pulled the first time, I probably would have voted for this.
I would have done the opposite. If there's no other comments, we'll move to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. 5-1, motion carries. Congratulations, sir. You passed skin of teeth. All right, we will move on to the next.
Mr. Chair, I'll need to
Yes.
recuse myself from this case as my company is directly involved.
All
so-
right, I have a feeling this is going to get adjourned then, but we still have to listen to it, so.
Maybe not.
Do we need a motion?
We have to let them still present before we do. No,
No, he can just leave.
Yeah. All right, case number 25-08-18 for 1839 Roseland Avenue. Whenever you're ready, you may take it away.
This site's a corner lot, and it's located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Roseland Avenue and Maplewood Avenue. The site itself is 50 feet in width, 135.1 feet in depth, and the total lot area is 6,755 square feet. It is improved with an existing single-family house, and there's also a small shed at the southeast corner of the property, which I've been informed that the petitioner would be removing if the variances are approved. And the petitioner is looking to install new first and second floor additions onto the rear of the dwelling. And these additions will consist of new living space, covered porches, and a new attached garage, which is going to be at the rear of the property. And there's also going to be a new driveway off of Maplewood Avenue. Based upon the size of this lot, the maximum allowable total lot coverage is 30%, which translates to 2,026.5 square feet. The house in its current configuration maintains a compliant 21.7% total lot coverage, but as a result of this proposal, it's going to be increasing by 12.4%. So the resulting lot coverage is now going to be 34.1%, which is obviously 4.1% or 277 square feet over that 30% cap. So the petitioner is seeking their first variance to waive that 4.1% above the maximum 30% total lot coverage. One part of their proposal as well is this new entrance off the side of the house, and there's going to be a 30 square foot covered porch and steps. The zoning ordinance does state that terraces, patios, decks, or other similar features that are located on the side of the dwelling are required to maintain the same setbacks as the house itself. So for this house in particular, it would require a 10-foot side yard setback on the Maplewood Avenue side. And staff had measured at its closest point, it's only going to be 9.4 feet. So the petitioner needs a second variance to waive that 0.6 of a foot from the minimum required 10-foot west side yard setback. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? None? No questions. All right. If the petitioner is present, you may come forward and state your case.
Hello, my name is Mark Soma. I'm the resident at 1839 Roseland. After speaking with Krieger Klatt pretty extensively over the last few days, we think we have a good case for the design and the layouts, but with the board being short, and we think we could probably make a few tweaks to the current plan to maybe fall a little more under compliance. We'll wait until the next meeting.
Okay. All right. We'll have to still open public hearing on this, but we will take that in consideration. All right. Is there any questions first for the petitioner? That's okay. Just want to make sure first before you
Yeah,
say.
you're good.
Any questions for the petitioner? Yes, Mr. Landweber.
This is an internal question. If the petitioner postpones this till next week, do they have an opportunity to present, or is the presentation from the petitioner closed at that time?
He can continue to make a presentation next month as well.
Any questions for the petitioner?
And again, you don't have to go into detail if you don't know this right now, but the tweaks that you're going to be making, are they going to mean you're going to ask for more of a variance or less of a variance?
No, it wouldn't be more. It would be, we've gone over some of the details of the side entryway and square footages of the covered pergola on the back, that maybe we can tweak a few of those details and lessen the request.
So the hope is to ask for a smaller request when you come back next month.
That's the hope anyway, yes.
Okay,
Correct.
perfect.
That's because the only question I was going to say is showing the practical difficulty of needing to be over the lot coverage as you currently stand. Why you would need that versus not having it. You can answer now, or you can think about that for next month, but that's going to be my question to you, basically.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, thank you. We'll ask you after public hearing if you'd like us to postpone. You've already said so, but double check. All right, public hearing is open. Anyone to speak for or against this case may come forward right now. Going once, going twice. Okay, public hearing is closed. I'm assuming you still want us to postpone until next month?
Yes.
All right, we'll bring our thoughts over here to the board. Mr. Wolf,
I'll make a motion to postpone this to next month.
is there a second? Mr. Lineweber, go ahead.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. He asked us to do it. I don't see why not, so.
Fair enough. All right, and, yep, any other discussion? Nope. All right, all those in favor of postponing signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, we will see you next month.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we will have a much fuller board for you. Oh, okay, let's see. Next, we will move on to, yeah, someone want to get Jeff?
Tell him it got approved.
Yeah, we're going to have to tag team now because now I have to recuse myself. Sorry. So you can just take over from there if you want.
All right, so,
Why don't you wait
oh.
for Nate?
Trading people time.
Yeah, musical chairs, just wait. Yeah, there you go.
Missed it.
I was watching it on my phone. I know it wasn't.
all right, with that, we've got our next case, which is 250819, and Alex, if you can take it away, please.
This site's on the west side of Coolidge Highway, between Coolidge and Mandalay Avenue, and it is north of 13 Mile Road. It's 51 feet in width, 103 feet in depth, and has a total lot area of 5,253 square feet. And it does contain an existing single-family dwelling, which the petitioner is proposing to demolish. In its place, the petitioner would be proposing a new single-family dwelling with a rear entry, attached garage, with the new driveway coming in off of Mandalay Avenue. And then, as a result, the existing driveway and approach off of Coolidge would be removed. The survey provided by the petitioner did identify a 20-foot wide easement along the south side of the property that runs at a slight angle that extends the full length of the property. When this property was originally platted, it was originally for the purpose of a public alley, but the city commission several decades ago did vacate that public alley, but they did retain an easement. So although this alleyway was vacated, the easement was still prohibits any new structure or building from being constructed within it. So because of that, this little pergola element that's shown on the petitioner's plans would unfortunately have to be removed if the variances were approved on their permit plans. The survey also does note the presence of overhead utilities, which does of course have a direct impact on the placement of the structure on site as well. So at a width of 51 feet, the zoning ordinance would require a minimum 5-foot north side yard setback. At its narrowest point, it's only 4 feet. So the petitioner is asking for a variance to waive the 1 foot from the minimum required 5-foot north side yard setback. The property does of course maintain frontage on the 2 parallel streets, as I previously noted, Coolidge to the east and Mandalay to the west. But the properties along Mandalay, they don't front directly onto that street, so it's not considered to be what's called a through lot. So as such, it only requires the standard 35-foot rear yard setback. The proposed house is only going to be maintaining a 21.8-foot rear yard setback, so the petitioner needs a second variance to waive the 13.2 feet from the minimum required 35-foot east rear yard setback. Thank you.
All right, and with that, the petitioner can come forward and state their case. Actually, I'm sorry, I forgot something. Before we move forward, are there any questions for staff? None? Okay, thank you for that. My apologies. Now you can go present your case.
All right. I think there's 9 board members, right? And then you need 5?
So you need,
Majority vote?
in order for you to get your variance granted, you need a unanimous.
Unanimous. Right.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to want to return.
You want to postpone?
We're going to postpone.
Okay.
But may I clarify a couple things?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Alex, you mentioned that the proposed side porch that's in the easement of the utility easement would have to be removed on the permit drawings?
That's correct.
For what reason?
Because the city commission, even though they vacated that side alley, they did retain an easement in that area, and it does not allow for structures to be located within.
In an easement that was abandoned?
They vacated the alleyway, but they retained the easement.
Okay, so you said the easement was 20 feet?
Yes, that's on the survey as well.
No, what I show is 15 feet on my survey.
The survey that's stamped and was provided in your plans notes 20 feet. The 15 feet may be a DTE clearance requirement.
The 15 feet that I show on my survey, my site plan, architectural site plan is 15 feet. That's a DTE survey, setback easement?
The 15 feet may be a DTE clearance requirement.
It is, yeah.
But that's different from the 20-foot easement that's shown on the survey itself. That's on that screen.
Right, but if you're saying it's 20 feet, then the house itself then, as proposed, would also be in violation of that 20-foot easement.
As it's shown right here on the plans, it's located outside of it. We can discuss this, afterwards if you'd like.
Oh, okay, but even though the alley's been vacated and given to the property owners, there's an easement
That's correct.
that remains for the alley that can't be built on?
That's correct.
Utility easement?
So that utility easement is a utility easement, and not an alley easement?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, and it's 20 feet.
Yes.
All right, I didn't know that.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll postpone.
All right, before we go forward, is there any questions for the petitioner?
Actually, I do, so sorry to make you get up and
Yeah,
run back.
like with the previous one, we're gonna still go through all the steps. Mr. Lineweber, go ahead. Sure.
When I look at the survey provided and the site plan provided, the dash lines that run through on both don't appear to be in the same location. And what I mean is the vacated alley easement that I see on the left-hand drawing shows a, let's say, 20-foot from the rear or from the bottom right property corner, let's just say for argument's sake. And the overhead lines are at the far edge of that easement area. And your site plan, I believe, is showing the DTE pole with a clearance around that pole, which doesn't necessarily reflect the easement itself. There may be an implied easement from DTE from clearance standpoint, but the actual easement that is on the left-hand plan, I'm not seeing that line crossing your site on the right.
So the site plan prepared by Tom, the one on the one to this left, that site plan is an existing plan.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't show the proposed plotted plan on it.
Right.
The easement that's shown there, I didn't document or didn't transfer over to my site plan that I prepared because I thought it was abandoned and there was no easement there other than utility easement from DTE.
Mm-hmm.
I was unaware of that. So
So
I really don't know where that is in
Well,
relation to the proposed site plan.
you may perhaps want to have a professional review this plan and take those two and superimpose that information that's relevant onto an updated survey. That may clarify some of the issues that are coming up.
Yeah,
that will come up.
the site plan that I prepared was done in collaboration with the land surveyor, Tom Northrop. I didn't transfer over that abandoned alley because I didn't know there was easements associated with it that were still in effect. I thought it was abandoned.
Understood,
So-
but you may want to reflect that because when they're talking about that pergola location, that may or may not be relevant.
You know, I agree. It may also, it's going to most likely affect potentially the proposed house as well.
It may.
Right. I didn't know that was still in effect. I thought it was abandoned. So if it's 20 feet, 10 feet each side of the center line of that utility pole, then we have a problem. If it's somewhere else, maybe not. I have to go back and work with Tom and understand that.
And poles the utility pole location may have changed over the years. I don't know the date.
These utility pole locations were from the survey.
I see, okay.
They're correct.
Yeah, 2025, all right.
Yeah, on the survey, it doesn't have the information that would plot them out as far as dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
I work with Tom on getting those precise when doing this site plan. So my site plan is accurate as Tom's. The reason why I did it versus having Tom do it is the cost to it. So,
Understood. I'm
yeah,
just suggesting you may want to look at both the utility location and the clearance from utilities and the easement itself and show them both on a single plan.
Yeah, that makes sense. I understand what you're asking. Yeah, we'll do that.
Any other comments by board members to the petitioner? Questions? Ms. Robinson, you have
Well,
one?
when I went by this, my first thought was, well, this is an excellent example of what a hardship is. Because you've got this easement going through the property and I didn't even know who had designed this or anything, but how great you put that together to make that work. I was impressed with that. The one question I had was, the driveway coming off the back of the house and you've got that wall on Mandalay. Is that gonna come down so you can get your car in there? Or
So yeah, so the idea with the garage, so There's some photos in the packet that was issued, but I can show you on the site plan too. Where the utility pole is going north, there's some support wires that come down.
Yeah.
So it comes down almost a third to half the lot. So
Okay.
it prevents you from putting a driveway in where that utility pole is or alongside that utility pole because those wires are there. So
Right.
you couldn't do a driveway. You can't do where I'm my drawing where I show a new approach and put a front entry garage because the garage width is limited to half the width. There's nothing left. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So there's no way to have a drive entry off the front of the property without snaking across the property, the driveway. And Alex said, no, you can't do that. So I'm like, well, there's no way to bring a drive in from Coolidge on the front of the property to enter the house and have parking, even just parking without a garage. So the only option we had was to do a garage, and the only place for a garage was in the far corner.
Right.
And you can't move the house over under the utility lines, so
No, I
I
thought
spoke
that
with
was-
Alex, and he worked with the city engineers to see if we can build a retaining wall to come in through off Mandalay, and they said, yes,
Okay.
you could. There's
On either
nothing-
side of the drive.
There was no easement in the way of it.
So the retaining walls would be on either side of the drive?
Yeah, we would
I got
we
it.
would put a
Cool.
retaining
Okay.
wall on each side of the driveway. And I did work with Matt, DTE planner, extensively on options of moving the utility poles. That's
Yeah,
ridiculous
yeah.
expense. And with what we're proposing regarding DTE's easements, they were fine with what we're doing. Even the pergola in the easement, utility easement, he said it's fine as long as the owner's willing to tear it down
Yeah,
when they have to get in there, he's fine with that.
it's my
But
understanding.
Matt but the DTE planner said there's no worries, there's plenty of room to access anything in that area, so, yeah.
I have a random question, but it's not, it's off topic, but it's not off topic. Did you guys investigate the cost of burying the line?
Yeah, we did. The cost was like $500,000. It was-
Oh, wow, never mind.
Yeah. So it was cheaper to move the pole, but still, it's not practical.
All right, well, that makes complete sense. All right, with that, thank you very much. We will open it up to public comment, and then again, you'll have that opportunity to decide if you want to move forward or not.
Okay.
With that, we will open up the public comment. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. All right, public comment is closed. Can we get on this side of the board either discussion or a motion?
Move to,
Ms. Robinson, yeah.
no, you want, go with?
No, Ms.
I
Robinson.
was just gonna say move to postpone.
I'll second that.
All right, any questions, comments? All right, with that, we'll go for a vote. All those in favor of postponing, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 All opposed? All right, 5-0. We'll see you next month. And there we go. Chairperson Offek is back.
No. Oops.
Yeah, it's a month. It's been a busy September.
All right. And we will move on to the final case of the night. Case number 25-08-220 for 306 Potter Avenue. Whenever you're ready. Take it away.
This site's on the east side of Potter Avenue, which is north of 11 Mile Road. The site itself is only 30 feet in width, which of course is a non-conforming lot width. And at 30 feet, it's likely amongst the most narrow in the city. The property is of course developed with an existing single-family house, and there's a detached garage at the rear of the property, and that is accessed via a shared driveway with the property to the north at 308 Potter. The petitioner is proposing an additional driveway and approach that will be 8 feet wide by 16 feet in length, and it would extend from the front lot line to the front porch steps. The zoning ordinance, of course, prohibits parking from being located within the front yard of a single-family dwelling. So the petitioner is seeking a variance to waive the prohibition for a driveway and approach to be located in the front yard of their lot. The zoning ordinance also limits each residential dwelling to no more than one driveway and approach per lot. There already is an existing shared driveway and approach, so the addition of another one does necessitate the need for the second variance, which of course would be to waive the maximum allowable number of driveways as well. Thank you.
All right. Any questions? Mr. Klatt?
Quick question. Not that I'm saying to do this, but if that driveway or that new concrete they're suggesting were to be a mirror image and flip and almost merge with the narrow driveway, would this require a variance?
So it would still require at least one of the variances for a driveway extending into the front yard. But of course, it wouldn't need a variance for having two separate driveways then in that case.
Oh, because it's going in front of the home itself.
That's correct.
Not on the side.
Yes.
Got it. And would I don't know about the width. I know you're limited to a certain width at the apron.
Yes, that would be 25 feet for residential properties.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, so the quick question I have is, because obviously the shared driveway right now is 8 for 8,
Mhm.
and if you're allowed 25 feet at the front, if they were to bring that 25, half of 25, which is 14, up to the front of their house, would that consider a parking pad or no, because it's an extension of that?
It would still be a parking space that's
Okay.
located in the front yard, so they would still need variance 8.
Okay, no problem. Just figured I'd ask. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, if the petitioner is present, you may come forward and state your case.
Good evening. I'm Chase Sperry, owner of 306 Potter Avenue. I'd like to first start off with a question. I know some people have postponed their vote until next month. At what point do I have to invoke that right to postpone?
You could potentially do it right now if you want.
Or could we go through questions and answers and then potentially postpone?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can
All
just say basically you're
Yeah.
intending to postpone, and if
Yep.
any of us have any questions, we could ask you.
Perfect. So we purchased the property in February. Upon disclosures during the sale, we were notified that there was an ongoing dispute between the current owner at 306 Potter Avenue and Sagar Patel at 308 Potter Avenue over this driveway. It lands about 60% on the side of 308 Potter, and there was ongoing disputes about the right to this. The narrowness of the width of the alley driveway between the two structures at the narrowest is 8 foot 3 inches. So it is exceedingly narrow, and there has been several incidences and visible damage to both structures with people trying to get out. The average American car is 5'8", and with 2 cars in the rear parking pad, there is no chance to turn around without driving into the yard. So people were backing out. Although no structural damage has happened, there is visible siding damage that will be considerable expense for me to replace. Not to mention 308 Potter Avenue has a doorway on the south facing to that alley that immediately exits. So if a car were to be coming down that driveway and his 3.5-year-old ran out, it would be smack dab in the face of that car. So there's some safety concerns as well. Knowing this, I talked to Mr. Patel, and he utilizes the driveway currently to the front of that house. Is essentially you can fit 1 car length there. You can see his red Mustang. Seeing as that's primarily on his property, I didn't see a way to argue that fact. I agree with him over the safety concerns, but we're currently limited to street parking, and that does limit our options electric vehicle wise. We do want to install a charger to make that viable. We've had reports from the neighbors in the south having to rescue and jack up cars because they got wedged in between the two buildings. So there's been significant issues with people who have wedged themselves. I know, Mr. Klatt, you asked about kind of mirroring it. The reason we decided on the south portion of that front drive and not utilizing the existing apron is specifically not to concrete over the existing sewer and water lines. The shut-off is on that north set, so although it would be less expensive for me to use that north side and utilizing the existing apron, it could be considerably expensive because we still have original clay crock sewers, and that may need to be replaced sometime in the future. Given that there's additional issues with off-street or only on-street parking in snow emergencies, as we found out our first week in the house, we only have a lot a half-mile away, which became incredibly difficult with my 2- and 4-year-old to manage. We don't have any other recourse other than that. Given all the facts, I could go in and dispute and fight Mr. Patel over the usage of that. He obviously does have a parking pad similar to what we're proposing on the other side. But for me, the cost of installing this and coming before you is worth the money to keep neighborly order and peace, especially considering that this had gotten so heated that it was about to go to litigation. So we want to make sure that our neighbor's happy, we're happy, and we live in a community that all works together. So especially because this is for us to install EV charging, to enable electric vehicle at home. I feel that it is in line with the values of Royal Oak and pushing us forward. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the petitioner? Mr. Clay.
Just the other challenge here is soccer season. I know my kids played at that park plenty of times, and those spaces, those angled spaces fill up quickly, and that on-street parking fills up quickly too.
It does.
I probably parked in front of your house before. Sorry.
Yes.
But
yes,
so I know
it only is a real problem when we're like going on a Costco run and we come back and soccer's going on and we're schlepping it a block. But
sorry, I didn't mean to take your spot.
No.
Needless to say, I'm assuming your neighbor to the north is in favor of this variance?
Yes.
Okay.
You mentioned the parking pad that your neighbor has to the north of their, is that on their property or is that on city property?
I have no clue.
I would point out that a large portion of it is actually within the city's park property.
Mm-hmm.
Only a very small portion of it is actually on his private property.
I see.
So,
Which is an issue in its own, but separate from this conversation.
yes.
The shared driveway, growing up, we were on a shared driveway, so I know, that the importance of great neighbors to make that work. You both have, your limited rights through there, and then shared rights certainly that you may wish to explore, with a council appropriate to that. When you mentioned the reason why you were not in favor of flipping the site, the parking pad to adjacent to the driveway, you mentioned the sewer, replacing the sewer line?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's in good condition now, but it is clay crock, so there could be issues.
As any homeowner in Royal Oak has, probably looked at those issues, there may be opportunity, this may be that opportunity. Have you talked to your neighbor on the south side about having an approach so close to their approach?
Yes, the homeowner is a good friend, and we discussed the plans with him as well.
Okay, because in effect, what you would be doing is taking that one parking space, I saw the aerial showed a car there, kind of a ghost image of it, and eliminating that parking space and putting it onto your front yard, in essence. Okay.
I got a question. Do you know how wide of a driveway your south neighbor's driveway is?
I couldn't tell you offhand, I didn't measure.
I know it looks bigger than
Yeah,
your north driver.
it is bigger, but not like an astronomical. I wouldn't say it's 10 foot.
Because I was gonna say, was there a reason why you didn't combine, just made that egress on the street just wider instead of having the two little, and doing it that way where you just attach to the driveway like that?
I mean, I would be open to it. I didn't really consider it. I was trying to kind of keep in the bounds of ours. But I am sure Murray would have an issue if we.
And I did have another, I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but stuff like permeable pavers or stuff that could grow in that I've seen on more sustainable parking lots
So, yeah.
before, that the city still doesn't allow. That would have to be before us with a variance if you were
Yeah, it would
do
have to
that.
be a hard surface material
Yeah.
such as
So that
concrete.
was our first intention, is we want non-permeable pavement. I'm an energy manager for Oakland County and in all their sustainability and non-permeable pavement initiatives. So it was definitely my first choice, but hardtop is the only one allowed.
Mr. Clint?
I don't, I mean, it's 16 feet, like a typical parking space is 20 feet in depth. And, yeah, I'm not sure if you drive what kind of vehicle you drive,
Yeah.
but if it's a Suburban or something along
No,
those
no,
lines,
no.
it's hanging over that sidewalk, which is a
right.
safety
Yeah.
hazard too.
Yeah.
And you don't want to push into your landscape bed or have your vehicles right up against the house. It's a potential challenge. It's pretty shallow. I mean, 16 feet's,
Yeah.
you can squeeze a car in there, but.
Yeah. It perfectly fits both of our sedans. We have smaller sedans. It's not an issue.
Any other questions? Mr. Reddy?
A lot of questions coming in, but you did a great job with your presentation, and the rest of you asked them all, except this last one. If the driveway were to go next to the one on the south, would they still need this front yard setback? It looks like there's not quite 8 feet over there.
This property to the south of here?
Yeah, so if they did move it all the way over, it looks like it still would need a,
Because it would
It
still
will,
meet the
yeah.
front yard.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Seeing that we do not have the whole board, you would need at least 5 affirmative votes, which means you can only get away with having one person vote no. So I will ask you, would you like us to postpone or
I think we'll proceed.
proceed? You want us
Yes,
to
thank you.
proceed? Okie dokie. We shall proceed then. We'll bring it to this side. Well, actually, we'll first ask if there's any public comment. You can
yeah.
sit down if you want. Although I know probably pretty much there's not much in the way of comment. Public comment's now open. If there's anyone to speak on this case, please come forward. Going once, going twice. All right, public comment is closed. Are you sure you want us to proceed and not postpone? Okay, we will proceed. So we'll bring it to this side of the board. Motions and/or discussions. Anyone? Mr. Lineweber.
Prior to any motion, just part of discussion, I look at this site and I think that there's a better way to do it. And that's if that drive was on the other side of the walkway, increase the depth, if it's feasible, where the landscaping is shown, to create enough of a safe buffer, because beyond the vehicle that the petitioner has, it's, somebody else sooner or later will live in this home, and, they're going to be in a position of potentially having something hanging over. So we're not giving enough. And it looks to be that there is a, potential improvement over the plan itself. So that's a consideration that I have. And if in fact the board was agreeable and we made a conditional approval, is that something that is acceptable or allowed as a condition?
The board can certainly place a condition of approving a variance, yes. It would have to be as part of a motion.
Correct.
Any other comments? Mr. Clapp?
So just to be clear, that's the mirror image approach where the drive would shift over to the northern side.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got 3.5 feet of existing pavement available to that vehicle to park in because it is the petitioner's property. And I think it makes it more usable. We eliminate one of those curb cuts, which is a potential problem, and it's eliminating a non-street parking space. The access through, between the buildings is jointly owned, so the petitioner has as much right, maybe not as much distance, but as much right to put a car in the front of that as the neighbor has on their side.
Mr. Reddy?
What would the length be on your condition?
I guess I would be needing to understand the condition of the front of that, but we've got 16 feet just dimensionally, even 18 would be an improvement. So, but I don't know how that lands into the profile of the landscaping in front of the home.
That is the one question I wanted to ask the petitioner that I forgot.
Would that, you can ask him real quick.
Yeah, so when I went by, are those plants planned? Well, like what you have there didn't seem to match exactly what's on here. So is there
those
room to?
there would be plans to remove. There's some
Okay.
invasive species in there from the prior owner, so there is a plan to redo that landscaping. We have a lot of other improvements in the house, so landscaping's kind of year 2 plan. So extending this an additional and changing the scope of that landscaping is no issue.
Actually, another question for you. If we did go with Mr. Lineweber's condition, would you still be able to install an electric vehicle charger on that side? Okay.
Yeah. If not, the reel could still be installed and lengthy enough to get to the other side.
So it wouldn't be like, okay,
No,
that's
there'd be no
the
issue.
question. Okay.
Mr. Clapp?
Well, our ordinance is different, but a lot of communities allow for an 18-foot long space with a 2-foot landscape buffer for the front, the bumper to hang over essentially, or the part in front of the tire. So you'd easily have over 20 feet in that case. A Suburban's 18.85 feet long.
Wow.
So, Tahoe's shorter though.
Any other
So
questions?
it seems very logical.
As long as he doesn't buy a school bus.
It's sounding like someone's coming together with a motion here, slowly but surely.
Well, yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I move for application 25-08-20 from Chase Sperry, the variance to waive the prohibition of a driveway in the front yard. I would move that be approved, conditioned upon moving the parking area designated to the north side of the petitioner's yard, and the length be increased to 18 feet for the vehicle to park. And in doing so, we would not require variance B. So I would be moving for variance A only, or the first one at this point, with conditions.
Or is that correct that he wouldn't need variance B?
Yeah, and I would still advise the board just to, for the clean record for the minutes, just make a motion to either deny it or offer the petitioner to withdraw it then.
And the conditions, the plight of the landowners due to the unique circumstance of the property.
We need a second on your motion.
I'm sorry.
Is there a second for Mr. Lineweber's motion? Okay, Mr. Wolf, go ahead, Mr. Lineweber.
Forgive me. Yeah,
That's
the use of the property for vehicular parking is clearly challenging here, and this does provide an opportunity for relief for that purpose. The conditions are not of the creation of the petitioner, and with the homeowner only owning 3.8 feet of a shared drive, that really makes the ability to use parking in the rear of the parcel challenging. So for those reasons, I would request for the variance to be approved, as well as the conditions be adopted.
Mr. Wolf, anything to add?
No, my colleague, Mr. Lineweber, put it really well. I was a little bit apprehensive about those conditions because, you know, I wasn't quite sure about the numbering and the mathing of it, but I was convinced that ultimately that, you know, I think good neighborliness is a, I don't want to call it a practical difficulty because it's not, but like keeping good neighborliness and you know, in a way that the property owner obviously was very amenable to. I don't see why we should be a hindrance to that, so.
Other comments? Any other comments? All right, I will be in favor of this motion. I think this is definitely a very unique circumstance. Although I live on a street that has many houses that have shared driveways and doesn't have on-street parking, so they really have to live with being neighborly. None of them are as small as amount as this one is, and that 8'8" is a gracious in my opinion, because that's not even taking into consideration some of the objects that are sticking outside the house at any given point. So there are some spots that are definitely less than 8'8" in that driveway as one goes through. So I think this would actually, even though it would cause what some people might think is not an ideal situation of seeing a car sitting in the front yard, I think it's the best case for this real difficulty that this person has. So because of that, I do not have an issue with the proposed motion.
And the difficulty here too is when you're on a 30-foot lot, I mean, this is just functional obsolescence. There's just no way. I mean, so I'm in favor.
All right. Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll move this to vote. All those in favor of the motion as presented signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, then for clarity, would you like us to remove then variance B since it's not needed? Okay, the petitioner has requested us to remove variance B. Withdraw, thank you. Yes, correct terminology. All right, thank you. And since there's no other variances regarding this case then, since he's withdrawn it, this case is complete. Thank you very much. Congratulations and best of luck. That will bring us to other business, which I don't believe there is any, but unless you have some.
At their meeting on Tuesday, the Planning Commission did make a motion to hold a joint work session with this board. So that'll be scheduled for Tuesday, September 9th at 6 p.m. So I would encourage you all to please plan on attending. Thank you.
And Alex, just a quick question. Will we get something in, let me restate that. Is this going to be part of a normal planning commission meeting that, you know, or are we going to get some kind of, you know, email notification about it?
It'll be a work session prior to the start of the planning commission meeting.
So, okay.
So it won't be a part of the official planning commission meeting itself.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
September 9th.
And that format will be in a roundtable conference room
Yes.
approach, as I understand it, but yet still open to the public.
Yes.
And what's the date again?
That'll be September 9th.
And you'll send the details with the time and location, right?
Yes.
Northfield Township. I'll see what I can do.
All right. Anything else on the business? Other business? Or is that the only other business?
That's the only thing.
Okay. Public comment. Open up for public comment. Anyone here to speak? Come forward. Going once? Twice? All right, 3 times. Public comment is closed. Who would like the motion for adjournment? And Mr. Reddy ran his hand. Go ahead. Is there a second? Go ahead, Mr. Wolf. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. We are done. Thank you.
Sounds like a busy September.
Yeah.